Okay, good morning, YouTube. My name's Tyler with Suncoast Garage, and today we're working on a regular old-fashioned shade tree mechanic oil change, fluid top-up. Basically, you know, the 15K service minus a couple of non-essentials. On a 2016 Land Rover, Range Rover with a supercharged V6. All right. Everything that we're using here. Okay, so number one, which you'll see in a lot of the videos, everyone has a rotary pump. You can find those cheap, but they're a little tough to come by. So we're going to be using a hand pump today. The reason that we are not going with the drain plug method, because believe it or not, it's a lot easier to just pump it out of the sump. It's my understanding that there is an integrated tube that goes all the way down to the bottom and gets out all of the oil, even from the little nooks and crannies that you would miss by draining it. Now, next up, we've got Castrol Edge 5W20 full synthetic. This basically guarantees a 15,000 mile oil life. So this is recommended by Land Rover and will drive with the onboard computer and the life specifications set therein. And of course, you know, you've got a funnel and you'll need somewhere to put the oil when it's spent. Here's a 10,000 mile long life STP filter, nothing special. Again, AutoZone. So this is all available at your local AutoZone, no problem, nice and easy. Now we're going to take a look here at the difference between the pump method and the drain plug method. So to make it nice and easy, we'll lift the vehicle right here. Let's start her up. Lift her so that we can get up under, and I'll show you around there. Going all the way off-road height. So we've got our service required on here, and we're going to learn how to reset that and everything. Go. Now, it's my understanding you have a 10-minute cool down to access the service menu, which will include your oil level. Let's take a look at that and see. It might be temperature related. That's your oil level and your service menu. To make sure that everything's buttoned up. Hopefully it'll let me skip past the back door and the hood. Skip, 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 skip. Okay, there we go. So you can see the full control here, just going right down to service menu. Looks good. Oil level, we're able to access that. Oh, but it's not available. So that's where the 10-minute cooldown comes into play. If the motor was running within 10 minutes as per the service manual, it will not read this level. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna take a look here at our next service. 0 miles, perfect. So here we go, this is it. We'll show you how to reset the service light, as well as, excuse me, complete the services themselves. I've got on full light clothes. In typical English fashion, you should be able to do this wearing a fully white tuxedo, right? Because, you know, these things are built for aristocrats, oligarchs, and dictators. So, not that they would change their oil on the run, but if they needed to, they wouldn't need to change out of their silky satin garments. So your first step will be to remove the cosmetic cover here. This pulls right off. It's only really attached by these guys right there. Rubber fittings, nice and easy. Like I mentioned, Castrol Super Edge, the most expensive one you can buy, and lots of it. 0W20 is the recommended oil weight, so we're sticking with that, obviously. Now, when you open this guy up right here, you see that little tube? This tube is specifically designed to get to the very, very, very bottom of your oil well, all right, of your oil pan, including, like I said, all the nooks and crannies. Any extra little sumps in there, anything like that, this will drain, okay? So that is what convinced me to go with a pump method. Typically, I do not do that. Now, on top of all that, when you get under this vehicle, it is also my understanding that taking the skid plate off is an extremely difficult job. Well, tedious. So we're gonna take a look at that. Yep, typical Land Rover. Got a little skid plate. Actually, this is pretty substantial. I was expecting plastic. So, in order to go the easy way and simply take out the drain plug, which is like right about there somewhere, you'll need to remove each of these bolts. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least. And I'm not even sure what's up under this skid plate. Okay? Oh, and actually it goes beyond there, doesn't it? This is one piece, yes, so you've got more back there, and then this massive piece of metal to move out of the way, and then reinstall. Plus, it makes a mess. So we're skipping that. Now the key here to ease and safety when you're using a setup that's not exactly designed for this system is to really crank down on this before you insert it. Number one, you do not want to lose this in your engine. That would be extremely problematic if you drove, and quite difficult to remove before driving. So either way, let's avoid that. Like I said, we're going to crank down on this as far as we can almost. Reason number one, safety. Reason number two is ease, because this is not a direct fit diameter. Again, we're doing this job with non-specialized tools from AutoZone. So what you want to do is get it down as close to the exterior diameter of the port in here, and I will show you guys that shortly. All right, let's give it a try. So we've got that one closed up pretty well. Again, just eyeballing it, I want to match the exterior diameter of this little port here. Put you guys back. And let's see how we did. Because it's not a perfect setup. This is not designed for this job specifically. We're doing this with shade tree mechanic, basic everyday tools. So we're on. Excellent. We're going to attach the pump. Give it a few pumps and see what happens. See if we have a tight enough connection here. Now this part may take a little while. Look at that. Fantastic. Now you can just see, again, if you've done an oil change in the past, which I'm sure most of you have, it's not a clean job. But here with this little tool setup, it is. And if you're doing it on a Land Rover, kind of should be. It's part of the mystique. So here we go. We'll try to speed through this part later, but we are pumping out all of our oil from our 2016 Land Rover, Range Rover, with the V6 supercharged. Again, all with basic tools. I wasn't able to find any videos like this online. Everyone had dealer specified goodness, and unfortunately we just don't have that to work with, but that's okay. So potential issues with this. If I were to do it again, would I get a different tool or something else at the auto parts store? Perhaps. We have a little bit of deformation here on this. When you stroke, you see that? That suction is a little too much for this tube. It's a super viscous oil, the 0W20, so that means it's thick. And this tube isn't really designed for that. So if I were to change anything so far, it would be that. But we're still gonna work through it.
Well, it ain't cheap being poor, and I can't take any more of the tickets and the taxes and the fees. I work hard for my pay, then they take it away. Like they don't care, I got a family to feed. They cut my shifts in the mail, I fell behind on my bills. And when you're late, they try to charge you more money.
So to top off coolant when the vehicle is cool, make sure that you do not open it when it is hot, and do not add coolant when it is hot. Both of those will be problematic. You can use distilled water if you live in a temperate climate, or climate temperate enough. That is specified in the owner's manual. No salt water, no tap water, distilled water. That's what we're going to use today. So again, if we needed a reminder, our Range Rover is here for us. No blue, no green, none of that. Don't mix the colors. A lot of people will disagree and say it doesn't matter, it's not important. I just think you should follow spec, personally. And in the spec book is distilled water, 89 cents at Wally. And for us here in southern Florida, it's fine. We don't freeze, so we don't really need to worry about that. We're more concerned about the cooling of the vehicle. So we're gonna fill that up nice and easy. There may be some spillage here, but again, it's water, so no problem. I'm gonna fill the reservoir up to its line. Now you can see some bubble in there, it's backfilling. See, this is really drinking actually. All right, so with distilled water, it is a little tougher to see. So what we're gonna do is look inside. You can see those little gradient lines, right? And it looks like we are, from the top, 1, there's 2, and I'm touching here, 3, 4, and 5. So we're actually a little above max. What we're gonna do is pump a little out. Your max fill line, conveniently, is that ledge right there, if you can see that, with the smaller hole down on the bottom. That ledge is your max fill line. So we're going to pump a little bit of that out, no big deal. And again, you can see right there that we're reading when cold. So like we were saying, the idea here is to demystify this car. The reason for that is not because I think it's cool to work on expensive cars with inexpensive tools, but because it's not really that mystical. If anybody knows what this is here, what that stands for, drop it in the comments. Okay guys, we're back in the cabin here. What we're gonna do here is confirm that we've removed enough oil to begin filling. So the first step is going to be to switch the ignition on. Please be sure that your feet are completely away from the brake. I know it's habitual, but keep your feet completely away from the brake and gas when turning on the ignition. As you know, if you press this button with your foot on the brake, the motor will turn. With no oil in there, that would be a big problem. So that's today's biggest disclaimer. Flip on the ignition, do not turn on the motor. It's going to go through all of the warnings that you'll get typically. Tell us what we need to know. We're just going to wait for that. And we are here to confirm again, so we're going back to the service manual. Clear, clear, clear. Sorry, service menu. Clear, clear, clear. So, oil level, have we removed enough? Yes, it is below the minimum level. Underfilled. Refer to handbook for oil volume and type. So again, that's Castrol 0W20, Castrol, I want to say GTX, but let's check. Castrol Edge, yes, sorry about that. You don't want GTX. That stuff's for peasants. Castrol Edge 0W20 is what you want. Okay, slight revision in inventory. Looks like I picked up the wrong one. I had 5W20 back here the whole time. So now we've got 0W20. Maximum performance, super duper oil from Castrol Edge as recommended by Land Rover. Okay, we're going to give a few more pumps here just to make sure there's nothing left over in the system. All right, we're good to go. Okay, so now it's time for the oil filter. I got all the smudge. There we go. Oil filter is going to be located right here. Again, see what we're looking at here, right? This is why we're doing this as simply as possible, because at the end of the day, nothing special. So this is just a plastic covering. You can get a fitting for here, but I'm typically able to get these off by hand. Let's see. It's not much of a torque setting here. 25 Newton meters. Again, as specified. So I'm going to work on this for a moment. There we go. Now that fitting I was talking about would be particularly helpful if you attach it when tightening to a torque wrench so that you can get the spec torque. So here we go, we've got a little cartridge filter in there. We're going to let it drain out for your viewing pleasure. And we've got our brand new one here and a new gasket. So I always like to make sure that these gaskets are oiled properly, lubed up. Opinions may differ on this, but I like to use spent oil. Make sure that's seated all the way around. We'll just unclip that guy. And you make sure to align these little pins here when you're inserting it. That'll let you get it fully seated. And you'll feel that. You hear that little click? Pick it up then, perfect, you're in business. So we're all lubed up, we're gonna plop her back in. Nice and easy. That might be the dirtiest part of the job. Now again, 25 Newton meters of torque, or as I like to say, about 3 ugga-duggas. Okay, so after a little research, it does appear to be 8 liters, just 8 and change quarts. You do have quarts and liters here. So we're going to fill, this is 5+. So we're going to fill leaving 1 and change behind. Okay. And so that I'm able to measure just a little less, we're going to go for the full first 5+. That's 4+ liters, 5 quart. Now again, we just put in 4.73 liters. So we got to do a little more, 3 and change. We're gonna work that out. And that ought to do it. Now to confirm, again, I want to confirm every step of the way what you're doing here. All right, so for the reset, you want to make sure that all of your doors are closed, plain and simple, with the hood open. You're going to power the ignition on. Then open the driver's door. At which point you will fully depress both the brake and accelerator. And release. And that's reset. Now you've got 16,150 miles on Castrol Edge 0W20 full synthetic. I'll probably do it at 15K anyway. Maybe even a little sooner. But that is the full procedure for an oil change on my beautiful 2016 Land Rover, Range Rover V6 supercharged. Thanks for watching Suncoast Garage. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this information was useful for you. Tune in next time. We'll look forward to seeing you again.